Hi folks, Chuck's here. Many of you pointed out in my last video, the OneUI 5 update for the Galaxy Z Fold, that many of the customization settings Samsung adopted from its own app called the GoodLock App. Now for many people that are very familiar in customizing your Samsung phone will know the app called GoodLock. For others who don't know about this app, it's an app developed by Samsung that allows you to customize and extend your Samsung Galaxy phone experience. And that's what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to take you through some of the key settings that I tweak in my Galaxy Z Fold phone to make my experience better than what I get out of the box from Samsung. So, what are we waiting for? Let's go in and look at the GoodLock app. The first thing you need to do is install the GoodLock app. That is only available in the Galaxy Store. So once you open the Galaxy Store and search for GoodLock app, you should get the app there, and then you should be able to install it on your Samsung device. Here I'm using my Galaxy Z Fold 4. Once you install, then when you open the app, you will see a bunch of plugins available for you to install. So here you can see I have two categories, Makeup and Life Up, and each of these sections gives me several plugins. Once you install these plugins, you will see them available for you to configure. If you haven't, you will get the install button right there in this GoodLock app to install and manage these plugins. Now, this is the only way you can get to the plugins for the GoodLock. So if you go try searching in the Galaxy Store, you may not be able to get these plugins, so make sure you get into the GoodLock app and install each of these plugins. Now once you install them, some of these plugins allow you to add shortcut to your home screen. So you can see add to home screen here. And that's what I've done here. I have picked the handful of plugins that I'm going to talk about today that I use regularly when setting up my Z Fold and the GoodLock app. So you can also get to know what settings are the best ones for your Z Fold device. The first plugin I install and configure is a OneHandOperation Plugin. It allows you to configure gestures on the left edge and the right edge of your device, so it's much easier to invoke certain actions. So for example, here if I swipe down from the left edge, you can see it opens the Finder so I can quickly search for an app, right? So you can see that as I swipe down, you can get the visual feedback, and as I swipe down, I also get a vibration feedback to let me know that it completed that action. So the one hand operation allows you to perform gestures, three gestures basically: the diagonal down, the diagonal straight, and then diagonal up. And here you can see it took a screenshot as soon as I did the diagonal up gesture. So there are two ways to go into the OneHandOperation Plugin, right? So you can go into the GoodLock, and then in the category of Life Up, you can see there is OneHandOperation Plugin. You can tap on that, or if you have added a shortcut to your home screen, you can tap on that, and that will take you to the app. You can see it already indicates where exactly those gestures are going to be performed, in which part of the left edge of the screen and right edge of the screen. And I can turn on the feature here, but I can also now go in and configure what my left handle is going to do. You can see here I have short swipe and long swipe. Very customizable, right? So here I have set the straight right to be the back key, the diagonal up to take a screenshot, diagonal down to open the Finder search. And if I long swipe, then straight right will be the flashlight. So it's now easy for me to turn on the flashlight when needed. And I haven't set up anything for the diagonal up long swipe, but again for diagonal down long swipe, I have kept it with my search. So now you can see that I can also customize the width, size, and position where exactly I want. So sometimes you don't have to be conflicting with the app gesture, so you can move the handle either low or high based on where you exactly feel easier for you to perform those gestures. Now if you go back, you can do the same for the right handle and configure the settings. Now here you can see some of the things that this can do is, of course, like once you select the gesture, it asks you what action it needs to perform, right? So here you can see there are a lot of options here, and you can pretty much get all of the things that you want to do here. One of the things I like is, of course, start app in pop-up view, right? So some of the key apps that we use, like for example, the 1Password here, which is my password application, I can quickly open it by doing a diagonal up gesture in the pop-up view. Here's how it looks. So let's say I'm browsing a website and I want to be looking at my password and the username for that website. I can just diagonal swipe up, and now you can see that it opened up the 1Password search directly. So now I can search for the website and find the username and password, right? And when I'm done with it, I can basically close the pop-up view, and now I'm back in my app. So that is the gesture, right? So for example, if I move screen and then go back and do the start app in pop-up view, you can get a lot of apps that supports opening up in pop-up view. And here I'm going to search for 1Password. There you go. And now that will open up the 1Password, right? So that's how easy it is to configure these gestures. And same with diagonal down, I have selected the Finder search. So the other thing you can do here, now I don't really do this because I find the default settings to be good. If you go into gesture settings, and then if you go into gesture angles, you can actually configure the angle in which you swipe up, swipe down, and swipe left. That is really useful if for some reason you're finding it harder to use this app. So that's the OneHandOperation Plus that I always install as soon as I set up my Samsung device. It's a very useful app for me, especially in the Z Fold. Okay, the next one, QuickStar Plugin, is my favorite. It allows you to do a lot of things with your quick panel. The thing that I really like is if I swipe left from the top of the screen, it will open my notifications. And if I swipe from the second half of the top of the screen, notice it actually opens up the expanded quick panel. And the other thing it allows you to do is if you tap on the more options, you get a new button option called button grid. And here you can configure the grid of the quick panel buttons. So the first one is the wide option. This is getting narrower with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quick panel buttons. And then this one is more narrow. So I like to have all of my quick panel buttons accessible easily in one go. And this app, this plugin of the GoodLock plugin, allows me to do that. So if I swipe from the right half of the top of the screen, I get the expanded quick panel. If you do the same on the left half of the top of the screen, I get the notifications. So if you go to the QuickStar plugin, you can see that there are a lot of options here. The thing that I just showed you is at the bottom here, right? It allows you to open quick panel directory, and you can configure what percent of the screen from the top will allow you to open the notification and the quick setting. I've almost done 50-50 here, so I can have that separation done very easily. Now, the other things you can do here is if you go to the visibility of indicator icons, you can basically now hide some of the icons that you feel you don't need them. So here, for example, you can see I don't have mobile data signal. As soon as I enable that, I get the mobile data signal icon. And similarly, volume, Wi-Fi, there's a lot of things that you can choose from here, the default icons that appear in your status bar. The other thing you can do is if you go into the clock settings, you can enable it to show the date, and is you can also position the clock on the right side of the status bar or completely hide it from the status bar, which I think many people would prefer to do that given you have widgets in the home screen. But I usually leave it on my left side of the status bar, so I always have the date and the time here. The other thing you can do here, of course, is the style your own quick panel. Now, if you are interested in customizing the quick panel and take the experience to the next level, you can do that here. You can either choose from a recommended theme down below, or you can go create your custom theme. Now, you do need to spend quite a bit of time doing these things. So if you're interested, go for it. If not, you can turn it off and just use the useful settings that I just went through in the QuickStar plugin. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention, the show quick button grid. That is the one, if you turn it on, you get it here as the button grid option. Okay, so the third plugin I configure is this RegiStar. Now, don't ask me how they name these things because I don't know. These names are weird, but let's just go with it. The one thing I like in this RegiStar plugin is it allows you to customize the side key, which is also your power key and the fingerprint scanner, to do things that Samsung doesn't allow you to do out of the box. Let me show you, right? So if you go into settings and then go into advanced features, side key, and I have double press to quick launch camera and then press and hold to wake Bixby and power off menu. That's it. If I want to open Google Assistant, which normally I would love to, I have to install some third-party apps from the Play Store and then enable some hacky ways to open that. I'm not going to do that. So in the RegiStar plugin, you can see at the bottom you have the side key press and hold action. When you go in there it is, the option access your Google Voice Assistant. Now when I press and hold, it's going to invoke the Google Assistant app. Will Seahawks make it to the playoff this year? Now there are other things you can do in here, which I find sometimes useful, sometimes not, is customizing your settings home, right? So when you go into the settings app, like all the things that you see here, including your name, your account, all of these things are customizable using the RegiStar plugin. So if you go into the RegiStar, you can see that I already have configured for my Samsung account to show my nickname instead of my full name and hide the email address, right? Generally, you will see the email address there. But if you go into my settings, you can see it actually shows my nickname and it doesn't show my email address. And you can do that. The other thing you can do is if you go into the menu order and group settings, you can customize the order in which those different settings appear in the settings app. For example, let's say I actually use the advanced features a lot, so I might want to bring it up to the top. So I can press and hold and I will get the option to merge it with the group above, group below. But if I press and hold on these two icons, it allows me to move wherever I want in this menu app. So let me take it to the top, right? So I'm going to put it here, and generally connected devices, I would just use the Bluetooth setting. So probably I'm going to hide that in the settings. Oh, and one more thing, maybe I'll pull the wallpaper and style as well to the top, right? And now at this point I can save. If I tap on more options, I can revert changes, so I can just go back and undo, or I can completely reset and use the default menu group settings in my settings app. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to show you by opening the settings app now that you can see here advanced feature is at the top, and then we have connections, and then we have wallpaper and style. So I think this is useful in a way that you can actually go and bring in some of the settings options that you use frequently to the top. And if you go back to RegiStar settings, you can also see that you will see all of the history that you did. This is very useful, especially if you did something and your phone doesn't work the way it should. You can come here, and if you have enabled this option to record all of the changes you make to the settings, you will see them here. So that's the RegiStar plugin. Next one is the HomeUp plugin. Now the HomeUp plugin, there are a few things here, but the very important thing, like that I feel that helps a lot in the Z Fold experience, is this task changer, right? Once you enable it, it allows you to configure the recent apps, which when you swipe, you will get this option, right? Now you can see already that this is something that I have configured using the plugin, which makes it easier for me to use my thumb to access this rather than go up and then access the app, right? So How do we do that? If you go into the Home app and then tap on Task Changer, you can have your layout type to be list, to be grid, to be stack, like many different things. I prefer the grid. And then there is this option here, mini mode, right? Once you enable the mini mode, you're going to get that easy access to the recent apps. Now, if you don't, right, so if I've disabled that, you get this default experience where you can see I have to already reach up, right? And that's a bit of a pain when you're using your main screen. So that's why I use the mini mode. Now it's just right there. You can also show the app label. You can enable, disable the search bar. You can also enable, disable the recommended apps. But the key thing here is you can choose your layout and the mini mode. I love it, and I usually prefer the grid and the mini mode. The other thing I also do to increase the space I have in my main screen, increase the home screen grid size to maximum. So here you go. So I can increase 7x7, and same with the app screen. I can increase 7x7 if I have to. You can see in my app screen, it now has more icons. So that's the HomeUp app. Now there are other things you can do here, but I don't find them very useful for the Z Fold experience. Okay, the next one is a very cool plugin. You can configure your Samsung keyboard themes and add some effects and also different sounds when you press your keys in the keyboard. So for example, here what I've done is I've chosen to style my own keyboard, and I've selected a theme, right? You can have a theme selected from the recommended themes, or you can tap and basically select the different colors for different places. And notice there's the circle here, and then there's a dot over here. That dot shows what exactly are you choosing the color for. So if I tap on this and let's say I set it to green, you can see that all of the outside border area has become green. But you can see here the dot points to the selected key. So now I can go here and select the color, and then let's say I select the purple, and the selected key now becomes purple, right? And similarly, all these dots allow you to configure the different colors. So of course, go through this and see how you can customize your keyboard. But I already have a theme here that I have set to my Samsung keyboard. Oh, and of course, you can go into the effects and then create or choose the effect that you want to use when you press the key in your keyboard. And sound, of course, there are a lot of sounds you can select from, but I like the retro touch sound. Here's how it works. Now my keyboard, right, that I have configured using the KeysCafe Plugin. How's that? That is neat, right? It's just adding that extra bit of, oomph for your keyboard that I feel like it's very subtle, but at the same time makes you enjoyable to use your keyboard and your Z Fold. So now we are mostly going into the customization area, the plugins that allows you to customize the look and feel and lock screen and extend the OneUI experience, right? So here's the ClockFace plugin that allows you to configure the clock style either on the always on display or the lock screen. Now if you go into the always on display, it will allow you to configure the settings by having the different always on display options and put some GIFs or add more layers, right? And then you can also select and configure them the way you want. Now, of course, here, if you notice, you can move things around and have that GIF appear in the exact position you want. And then you can tap on another layer where you have inserted the clock. You can select the different clock styles. You can also move them and position them accordingly. And the top one, which is also showing you the date, you can choose the different format in which the date appears, and as well as you can choose the color if you want to, right? Now, this is not that different from what you get in the always on display settings, but sometimes GoodLock gives you some various things that you can add here, right? For example, the analog clock, the text message, the image that usually you don't get in the settings app. So this is one of the things that Samsung may adopt in the future OneUI versions, how you can customize the different things available here. Okay, moving on to the LockStar plugin. This is the one, I think, where Samsung adopted a lot of its features into the OneUI 5 update. So you can see here, once you go into customizing the lock screen, you can have the different things that you can add here. For example, here, see, you can add a sticker, and I already added a sticker here, or I can move this around anywhere I want, right? So these are the different, one of the things I would say that is very different from what Samsung did with OneUI 5 is you can move this around and add it anywhere you want. Like, for example, I can bring it down here if I want to, right? And then here's my sticker. I can add the sticker right here because it fits very well with my wallpaper. And similarly, I can move this around, right? So for now, let me keep it here. And even the icon that shows you the lock and unlock, you can move around, right? So everything here is configurable. Again, the ClockFace, if you want to customize that, you can customize it from here, which gives you the same options that you got in the ClockFace app, right? The thing that you need to do to customize the different sections is just tap on this bottom button, and then that will open the respective configuration settings, right? So for example, for here, you can see now I get different options. I can scale it. I can also rotate it. I can also set its transparency. And similarly here, you can see that I have added the music widgets if I don't have it, right? So now I get the option here to add the music widget. So now I can add it in the place I want in my lock screen. So now I can save this. So now if I go to my lock screen, you can see that I have the setup that I just created. The camel sticker is here, and I don't have music playing right now, so it doesn't show up here. I don't have notifications, so it doesn't show up here. But once I have them, you should see them in the relevant places that I configure in my lock screen configuration. Okay, so the next one is the ThemePark plugin. ThemePark is a plugin that allows you to customize everything you see in your phone experience, like this quick panel, the messages app, the phone apps experience, everything. So you can see I already created a few themes here, but let me show you what it looks like. So here it is. It shows you all of the things that you can configure or theme it, right? Theme it in the sense, the colors and various other things. So for example, here is the one that allows me to select an icon pack, right? So now I can go here, and as long as you have installed third-party icon packs from Google Play Store, you will get those options here. Let's select this icon pack here, and then it'll show you the different previews of configure the shape, right? How it looks, so I can see a preview right there, or I can just leave it the transparent one. And I can also select the tray color and icon color. I can go and configure all of the different settings here, the quick panel, like literally like I can configure every color and even the blur level I want for the quick panel settings when I expand and view the notifications, right? So take your time, go through this setup and see how far you go with configuring the different colors, the look and feel to suit your mood, or just extending your phone experience to have something new. Now let me show you how it looks. So here is the sunrise theme. So when I apply this, right, what will happen is it's going to change the theme of my Z Fold along with the wallpaper. And here you can see it has all of the custom icons, and even my quick panel has changed and applied the theme specific colors and experiences. So that's the ThemePark plugin that you can use to customize your entire Galaxy experience. So the last one is the Wonderland plugin. This allows you to create 3D wallpapers, and basically it allows you to add layers on an existing wallpaper and stickers and provide motion so it appears as if it's layered one over the other, right? So here's my wallpaper that I created. Now here you can see I've added several things here that makes my wallpaper unique, right? So for example, let me delete all of this and show you what I can do here. So this is a wallpaper that I selected. Now I can add more stuff. And here I can see particle effect or particle preset. I can select rain, right? And now you can see that here droplets appear on my wallpaper, right? So now I can add more layers to it, right? So let me add image. How about we add something like lightning, right? So I'm in the sea, it's raining, so maybe I will add the lightning effect over here, place it over there, but now I can tap on image settings and I can apply individual motion effects, and I can have it such a way that when I tilt or move my device, there is motion effect. So you can see here that's already being applied. So now I can save it and I can set as the wallpaper for home and lock screen, right? So now if I go back, you can see the wallpaper. It's pretty neat, right? So some of these things, like when you get bored and when you tired of the default wallpaper settings and you want something new, like this Wonderland app allows you to do like really great things. I in fact love this app more than the ThemePark app because this is just straightforward, really easy to configure, and it's pretty much you can do a lot of things. Like here you can see like the boat, the lightning effect, and the raindrops coming down. So that's the Wonderland plugin. So that is the GoodLock app. I think for those users who downloaded the GoodLock app and are struggling to figure out what to do with the app, I hope this video helped you. If it did, please give a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my channel as well for more tips and tricks like this video. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about the GoodLock app? Until next time, bye.